there, my friends. Welcome back to another video. Thank you guys so much for your patience with this video. I'm sure a lot of you saw with my announcement, I had a lot of exams recently, but with those out of the way, I'm back to doing the YouTube grind, getting these videos out for you guys, making sure you're up to date on all the things regarding Star Wars and Star Wars games. And while I was on my little study break, I noticed a lot of interesting information that I wanted to cover in this video about a lot of upcoming EA Star Wars games and Star Wars Battlefront 3. But before we go ahead and dive into this news, I want to remind you guys that this is the best place for you guys to stay up to date on all things Star Wars, whether it's Battlefront, Star Wars games, shows, movies, etc. So if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. We just hit 8,500 subscribers, and I'm really thankful for you guys' support on the channel. And with that, let's get straight into the video, guys. So this first piece of news comes from an article posted by IGN about Anthem's development stopping and BioWare focusing more on Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Now, this article was actually an interview with EA's Chief Studio Officer, Laura Miele. And Laura Miele, basically, she's in charge of the different development studios at EA that EA oversees. And she mentioned something about Star Wars and Battlefront that really got my attention, really got a lot of attention of a lot of fans. And to be honest, it's really exciting to hear. So let's go ahead and get straight to what Laura is saying in this interview here. So the interview reads as follows. In an exclusive interview with IGN, EA's Chief Studio Officer Laura Miele offered her thoughts on the shuttering of Anthem's development, contrasting the decisions EA has made in regards to the game's overhaul with those it made on Star Wars Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 was a successfully overhauled post-launch based on community feedback, if not perhaps as dramatically as Anthem was planned to be. What's really important about Battlefront 2 is we said we were going to do something, Miele explained. We made a commitment to players and we needed to act on what we said we would do, so our teams are clear. If we publicly say we're going to do something, we must deliver. Creating new content for games also comes to a natural conclusion for various reasons. And when that happens, we try to be as transparent as we can with the community and explain why. Miele then pointed to Battlefront 2's community post-launch as an example, saying that even though the game's community has asked for more post-launch content beyond what DICE was going to deliver, the studios were keeping that feedback in mind for future Star Wars games. In contrast with Anthem, also had community interested in its overhaul, Miele says that ultimately the best decision based on the resources BioWare has at their disposal was to focus development on its other games instead. So I know that was a lot of information from that interview right there, but I want to point out a specific part of this chunk of text from Laura here. She said something very interesting, specifically this part of the interview right here. Miele then pointed to Battlefront 2's community post-launch as an example, saying that even though the game's community has asked for more post-launch content beyond what DICE was going to deliver, the studios were keeping that feedback in mind for future Star Wars games. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me right to my face, Sentry, what do you think that what this is saying right here? Well, I think that Laura Miele, as well as a lot of the other EA executives, are aware that people wanted support for Battlefront 2 to continue. We wanted Mandalorian, we wanted Ahsoka, Padme, Aayla Secura, Ki-Adi-Mundi. We wanted all these, Mace Windu, all these extra heroes and maps and things added to the game. And so when you ask me, Sentry, what does that mean? Future Star Wars games? Well, to me, that makes me feel like they are aware that the need for Battlefront is still very high. People want a Battlefront 3, and if you ask me, this is saying, yeah, we're aware of it, and we're going to keep it in mind for future Star Wars games. Now, future Star Wars games, to me, speculation, opinion, sounds like Battlefront 3. It may not sound that way to you, and that's fine, but for someone who wants Battlefront 3 probably more than any other Star Wars game ever, I'm very hopeful that this is basically saying she's aware that people want, more support for Battlefront 2, so we're gonna make a Battlefront 3. We're not giving up on Battlefront, which is great. But we also got some more news from a different article from Laura Miele, and we're gonna dive into that right here. Another article with IGN talks about how EA is putting the future of its franchises, including Titanfall, into its studio's hands. The Chief Studio Officer, Laura Miele, once again talks about her role working with EA's internal studios and how those studios are looking for more ways to listen and respond to their fans. So the article reads as follows. Basically, Laura Miele talks about how she is the Chief Studio Officer for EA. She works with over 6,000 game developers across the company. She discusses that EA's internal studios are the gravitational center of the company, and their focus of their job is to empower the developers to make the games they want. And respond to what the community wants as well. She says, in terms of game development philosophy, our players are always our North Star, Miele says. As I started this current role, I wanted to strip away some of the preconceived notions about what games we should be investing in and really start listening to players and incorporating their voice into our development process. Since then, we have announced a slate of games that players asked for: a new Skate, college football, a Command & Conquer remaster, the Mass Effect trilogy, and we developed free content in Battlefront 2 for several years to turn perception of that game completely around. So I know that's a lot of information, and trust me, what she said there was very exciting, especially for people in the community, content creators, and fans in general, because basically what Laura Miele is basically saying in this article is, number one, EA is giving the studios the full authority on making the games how they want. I feel like Battlefront 2, the whole loot box scenario, that was not DICE's choice. I feel like EA came in and they wanted to put the loot boxes in, and so that's why we had that whole train wreck. But I feel like what Laura Miele is saying is, we're listening to what the community wants. You want another Skate game? Here's another Skate game. And this is really good because if we have a lot of people saying, look, we want Battlefront 2 to continue, right? She's clearly aware of that fact. She said it in the last article. And if we keep our voices high saying we want a Battlefront 3, here's what we want in it. We want space to ground. We want more heroes, maps, planets, weapons, vehicles spawning on the ground so I can just walk into it. Better maps. If we keep saying stuff like this and letting the developers know, then those games are going to get made. I mean, Laura Miele basically is saying, we're listening to the community, we're aware of the games they want, and we're going to try our best to deliver on those. So by creating content, by talking to people, by just connecting and talking about what you'd like to see in a Battlefront 3, that really helps EA know that, hey, these people still are interested in the Battlefront series. People are clearly wanting a Star Wars Battlefront 3. People like me, people like you watching. And to me, this is great news because, not only is the community, EA being more aware of the community, but actually, the studios now have complete control of the games that they want to make. So I doubt we'll see another loot box scenario in a Star Wars game. I hope we don't, because I really feel like that was just awful. But yeah, in conclusion, guys, this article really brought me a lot of hope, and I really hope I brought you a lot of hope today with letting you know about it. Hopefully this means great news for Star Wars Battlefront 3. I really hope it does. It's probably going to be the most ambitious Star Wars game in a long time, if not the most ambitious Star Wars game ever. But I'm going to be working hard on making videos on what I'd like to see, hearing what you guys would like to see as well. Let me know in the comments below what you guys like to see in a Battlefront 3, and I'll be sure to make videos on it, as well as, talk about it more, because I really feel like the community and letting these people hear our voices that we want a Battlefront 3 is the most important thing we can do. So that's really great news. I'm excited. I really hope that this year we get some news on Battlefront 3, even if it's just a logo. Even if they just say we're working on it, that would make me so happy. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, what these articles, what you thought about them. Did they give you a lot of hope? Do you really feel like EA is going to deliver and make a Star Wars Battlefront 3? Hopefully that ends up happening. Hopefully we get a lot of good news at EA Play this year. I really am hopeful and confident we will. So I really feel like we're going to have a great year for Star Wars. Again, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. We're at 8,500. We're going to be at 10,000 in like a snap. And I'm really thankful that you guys enjoyed this content. You can expect me to report more on Battlefront 3, making speculation videos, as well as returning to Battlefront 2 to make videos on tips and tricks, best loadouts for classes, as well as the return of the beloved Toxic Hero Showdown and Heroes vs. Villains types of videos. You can expect all those coming at you on this channel very, very soon. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm very blessed that you guys enjoy my content. I really am thankful for all of you. And with that, guys, I'll bring this video to an end, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I am the Senate. Do it.